Hello. In this video, we are going to discuss about the different types of pressures. That is absolute pressure, gauge pressure, vacuum pressure, and differential pressure. In pressure transducer, we have different types of transducer based on the pressure value. So we have to study the concept of different types of pressure. Before going to that, we have to look at the standard pressure units. The most common units measures are pounds per square inch, that is PSI, and bar. And for higher pressure ranges, the water column and pascals we are using. These are the basic units of standard pressure units. Now, coming to the concept of pressure value, we have to consider the exam. That is, consider the height of students in a classroom. First, we have to consider the height of leader in that classroom. That is, the ground level. This level is called ground level. That is either a zero level, or we can say that the zero level is called datum level. And in the group of classroom, we are taken one example, that is height of our leader. That is called the reference level. And if the height of our leader is 5 feet, then that 5 feet is taken as reference level in this example. Now coming to what is the difference between absolute and gauge length. Consider another boy whose height is just like this, that is 6 feet from the ground pressure. Now we can say that with respect to our reference level, that is leader's height, the height of A is 1 feet greater than as compared to the reference level or leader's height. And otherwise, with respect to the zero level or datum level, the total height of the student A is absolute height, that is HABS. That is, we have two types of height here. First one is gauge height, and second one is absolute height. The gauge height is with respect to our reference height. That is, the reference height is our leader's height. And the total length of the total height of that students from the ground is called absolute height. So we have two types of height. First one is gauge and second one is absolute. And with respect to our reference height is our leader's height. And by measuring the gauge height, we can say that the gauge height of student A is 1 feet, or absolute height of student A is 6 feet. That is 5 feet plus gauge height 1. The total height is 6. The total height is referred as ABS, that is with respect to our ground level or zero level. Now coming to the second type, that is vacuum level. Consider a student B whose height is less than 0.5 with respect to our reference level or our leader's height. Then at that time, the gauge height is minus 0.5, or the total absolute height is 4.5, and we can get the gauge height as the absolute height minus reference height. That is, absolute height is 4.5, the total length of the boy with respect to 0 level, and the reference level is 5 feet. So 4.5 minus 5 become minus 0.5. The minus 0.5 is called our gauge height. The gauge height is minus 0.5. At that time, we can also say that the vacuum height is equal to 0.5. That is, if we omit the negative sign, at that time the gauge height become vacuum pressure. That is, in this figure we can get the gauge height is equal to minus 0.5, and we can say that the vacuum height is 0.5. These are the two concepts of vacuum and absolute. I hope you all know that. That is, coming to the pressure types, here we are considered the height of the students as an example. Now coming to our actual value, the pressure types, that is, we have mainly two types of level. First one is zero pressure or datum level, and another one, the reference level, is P atmosphere. And if we consider the total height, this is called our reference level, that is, atmospheric pressure is called our reference level. Now coming to the height of A, that is a pressure greater than our atmospheric pressure. That is, we can say that the ABS is the total length with respect to datum level. That is, pressure absolute is with respect to our reference level. And we can also that the gauge pressure is also there. That is, gauge pressure is with respect to our atmospheric pressure. That is our reference level. That is, the total absolute pressure is equal to P atmospheric. That is reference pressure level plus gauge pressure, or gauge pressure we can also get by P absolute minus P atmospheric pressure. That is, here our reference level is P atmospheric, and the total height is P absolute pressure absolute, and the gauge pressure is with respect to our atmospheric level. Now coming to the concept of vacuum, that is, now here we are taken an example that is below a value of atmospheric pressure or reference value pressure. The point is B. At that time the total length is PABS, and which is less than 0.5 with respect to our atmospheric pressure. Now we can say that the P gauge, that is gauge pressure, is equal to minus 0.5 with respect to our atmospheric pressure. That is, also we can say that P vacuum is equal to minus of P gauge, or P vacuum is equal to plus 0.05. By omitting the negative value, we can get our vacuum value. That is, PABS is equal to P atmospheric minus P vacuum. In conclusion, we can say that we have mainly three types of pressures. First one is absolute pressure, and second one is gauge pressure, and third one is vacuum pressure. And the reference level is called P atmospheric pressure. And first we have mainly two reference level. First one is zero pressure level or datum level or P atmospheric pressure level. And the total pressure with respect to zero pressure is called absolute pressure, and the total pressure with respect to atmosphere pressure, if it is a positive value, it is called gauge pressure, and the total pressure with respect to atmosphere, if it is negative, it is called a vacuum pressure. These are the mainly three types of pressures. And coming to the differential pressure, if we consider two levels, from first one is this and second one is this, then the difference between these two pressure is called differential level, that is PAB. Okay, we consider two pressure level, first one is A and second one is B, and PAB is called differential pressure. That is the difference between the two pressure levels A and B. That is, coming to the definition of each one. The absolute pressure is measured by relative to the perfect vacuum. A common unit of measure is pounds per scale inch, that is PSIA. And in the case of differential pressure, it is the difference pressure between 2 points of measurement. That is, we are considered A and B. That is measured relative to the reference pressure. This is commonly measured in the unit of pounds per square inch differential. And the third one is gauge pressure, which is measured relative to the current atmospheric pressure. That is, common measurement units are pounds per square inch gauge, that is PSIG. Also PSIC for compound or PSIV is for vacuum. That is commonly used in gauge measurements. Now coming to the difference between the gauge and absolute pressure. Remember that the gauge pressure is measured relative to the current atmospheric pressure, that is subject to the change with change in the barometric pressure. And coming to the absolute pressure, it is measured relative to the perfect vacuum. Thus, in our application, we will determine which one of these pressures or pressure transducers are we required. These are the basic concept of different types of pressure in pressure levels. That is, first one is absolute pressure and second one is differential pressure. Third one is vacuum pressure and fourth one is gauge pressure. And we discuss about all these pressure types. That is, PABS is equal to P reference plus P gauge pressure. And I hope you already know about this. Thank you.